Congratulations on your new documentary, The Sharp Edge of Reason.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sharp Edge of Peace, excuse
Peace.
me.
Yes. Peace.
More of a congratulations is it's being showcased at Hot Docs this year. How does it feel for you about that?
Yeah, it should be good feeling. Yes, it's very good feeling. But with this documentary and also for all my previous movies also, um, the the story and the subject always have lots of impact for me. And you should enjoy as a filmmaker for the festival, but at the same time you're feeling sad with like with the story that you try to have to tell this story. This is always with me. Even the movie be um, very interesting for people. Like the movie is not more sad or tragic, but I have this kind of opposite feeling, conflict inside of yourself sometimes.
So how did this documentary first came about? How did it all started for you?
Mm-hmm. Um, for the very, very beginning, I received a call from my film producer, Leslie Thomas, and we talking that uh, she asking if we make a documentary about this, like the peace process and falling for women. Um, for me, that I'm coming with a making movie about women in more than 20 years. This subject was very, very important for me, and in many ways. First of all, it was important for me that this story is really unique in the world in terms of women, politics, war, and peace. And it's unique in the history of Afghanistan. Of course, the women rights activists, their struggle have a very, very long history, but you never find inside of any book, you never find inside of any movie. So it looks for me that our camera will be a strong witness for the history of women's struggle. And the other, like personally for me was totally different because I had experienced the first time when the Taliban took the country in 1995. And that time I was a student at the school. And I just thinking that right now I'm going and I'm following this very brief and strong women, and in the same times I'm standing in front of Taliban with my camera. Of course, the first time when they took the country, I was 5 years at home, because that time also they banned the school, and you know what should be the life under the control of Taliban. So in many ways, this documentary was very interesting for me, and I just starting without thinking, and of course I'm making movie inside of Afghanistan for more than 20 years. I understand the situation. I like how it should be difficult to make this documentary. But because the subject and the story and the narrative was very, very important for me, I decided to ignore all of like problems and um, many challenge to be around of this production.
So how did you pick out your four subjects, and how did you convince them to be a part of this documentary, knowing that there may be, suspicion or hostilities against this a film like this?
Mm-hmm. Yes, to following this very well-known women in the society, and especially they are uh, politics activists, women rights activists, and they are also in the peace talks, a member of peace negotiation team. They had their uh, own condition for the, to don't talk with people, with the media, and so on. I understand they was in a very critical moment. But I'm happy that they respect our work, and I think it is because they understand and they know very well about my work, and me and my husband and my sister, me and my sister first, we're starting from 24, sorry, with our company, Royal Film House. It's about more than 20 years. And we produce many TV series, many documentary fiction movies about women. And this, for women, understand about our work. And it is very important that you believe them and they believe you. So, but for this film, it wasn't enough that they believe us and we believe them. Why? Because they had their own condition for the peace talks, and also the security situation became worse on that moment in 2021 when we start, and 2022 when they go to, like, we start in 20, and then when we go together in the peace talk, the first trip, it was very hard to enter with them to the peace negotiation, to enter to that trip, even to that trip. And the challenge wasn't only from the Taliban, because the Taliban also, there was a caddy who is with, like, from which media or especially when they're hearing about the documentary, making a documentary film. This title, making a documentary, become very sensitive, not only for Taliban, for the government also. Because, as you know better, the politics are always complicated, and they don't want someone with the camera, like a witness, always following the process and what's going on. So the four women, if they be ready to be following them, and I be with them, but the situation was very, sensitive, and sometimes it wasn't in their hand in terms of security, in terms of many, like, contact and relation that they had with the government and with the Taliban at that time, because there wasn't the negotiation. So the important things that we never gave up, and I just thinking for, like, what will be like it is forgive that we are only following this for women. And it was important that in this special moment of the history of Afghanistan, what we want to bring out with our camera. So this was very important.
Was there any security concerns or harassment issues during the production for yourself?
Of course. We was like from 2020, the target attack was starting for, like, for journalists, women rights activists, for media artists, and then after we came from Doha, and we received message from the security department of government that I should not go out with my car, or I should stay at home, or if possible for me to leave the country for some weeks or something, that the situation become normal. The people thinking that time, even we thought that maybe this all pressure coming from the Taliban to give more, they receive a more, part of inclusion government, something like this. But yes, but that time we was in the top, the important time of production, and I trying to change, like, don't bring my car. I trying to change my clothes, my wearing, and then for different traveling with different car. Like sometimes we have one scene, you see that one of our characters, Dr. Sarabi, she going on the graveyard for after the attack. And that day I just traveling with taxi from the office to middle of the way, and then my brother-in-law coming with totally different car, different number, car number to pick up me. We changed on the way to car, and it was it wasn't with any security strategy that someone tell for us, but because I was focused to the movie. Right now, when I remember when I talking about that, and I just thinking how it possible, why I did too much risk. But that time I was focused on the story, and it was very important for me to, of course, this is the situation, and we decided to make this movie, and it's important that we're just going. So that day was a very, very, oh my God, even some people, when they crossing with motorcycle from right of me, from right side of the car, I just put my hand to don't see them if they shoot or they do something. Yes, it's unbelievable. Like you make this documentary. When I'm watching, sometimes I'm sat with the camera that with a movement or something, and I just remember, okay, this shooting this part, we wasn't able to bring the camera, there wasn't allowed, and then I shoot with mobile, so it's okay, it's okay. Like I just remind for me the situation, and I say, okay, it should be fine. Yes, it looks like we make this documentary in the first line of the war, but you've seen it looks like normal life. It was a normal life from 2020 when the peace talks are starting.
That is
Yeah.
true. Now, as a female filmmaker yourself, I know female filmmakers are even difficult here in the United States because they're few and far between. But it's even much more challenging as a Afghani filmmaker. Do you feel that by doing this film, you're part of this movement that is going on for your country?
Of course, it is very important. And actually, when I started my first movie, 2001, I was introducing the first women filmmaker in Afghanistan. I never understand before that we didn't have women filmmaker before. So from that time, how I starting from family and then society and then the big. Um, um, I do believe cinema. I love cinema. I love picture. I love, this is like a strong voices and strong tribune for me. And with this passion, from the very beginning, I ignore and I close my eyes for all the problems and challenge. But sometimes become too much for me. But I understand that where I starting, and I have been working in Afghanistan, and I do believe that one day, very soon, I will go back, because that society and that land, they have lots of unknown story that the people should hear. Yeah.
Now, I have a question about the aesthetics choices of some old footages and photographs that you actually use, which is sort of like with blue filters. Could you talk about that cinematic choice for your film?
Mm-hmm. I'm actually during the timetable and the process of this movie because the story is just, when we start, the peace talk is a stop, but totally the film narrative, the film subject became changed. And then we never gave up, and we following our characters until like last year when any. So we starting because I was busy with another film production also. That's totally different, different history. And our post-production was like in the same time that we had some shooting and then we filming. We started for editing. Our film was from the beginning between like the we thinking that it should be happy, it should have happy ending, happy movie for special big achievement for women. But still, I do believe that this is achievement for women. And this film is like the winning and the losing, the meaning of the winning and losing have totally different meaning inside of this movie. I do believe that this is successful movies for women and a big achievement because they're the right, protest who stand for their rights. And they're really brief because they're standing in front of Talib, who is a Talib. Like the effect of the Talib is like extremism, fundamentalism is it's worse in all the country. They're worried, they're concerned, but only Afghan women are standing for their rights in front of the Taliban. So this history is very important, and we have like. But for me, it was between like between the darkness and lightness, like you have your hope, but you see the situation. And also when we talk with Sarah, our film editors, that how we can like make a separate feeling for the history part, and also the moment that especially the Taliban took the country, and how we can make them different than the moment that the women struggle starting, the women protesting is starting. So it is very difficult to feeling this movie is really between darkness and light, or what do you want to, like, this doesn't depend for the feeling of the people. For me, it should be like that blue theme of the color of like everything is on the gray, like everything is not like very complicated and not clear in the gray way with the political announcement and with that situation. And then you're feeling that, okay, it looks like the women, they're losing. No, the lighting and the color is starting because they're fighting and they're standing.
Despite all this adversity, how do you maintain hope throughout all of this?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, you do believe that what you want, this is hope. When you, of course, women, when we talk about women, if we talk about our four characters, if we talk about 100 women that right now they have their protesting inside of their home, because in this street they cannot do, they're tortured, they're banded, so on. But they understand, we understand that we are fighting for freedom, we are fighting for life, we are fighting for art, we are fighting for happiness, for our rights, for the basic rights, for education, for development. So when you believe that you're right, you're in the right side of the history, this is hope. This is something that it should bring change for that country.
Most excellent. Well, let me wrap it up with one last question with you. As audiences have a chance to watch The Sharp Edge of Peace, what is the one most important take you hope that they walk away with?
The important thing is that this world really need to be changed in terms of women's rights, especially women and politics. Always, I just talking as a filmmaker, and I say, okay, this movie, I make this movie like my previous movies, A Letter to the President. Always I said that I'm talking about this story and the characters, not about politics. But right now I say no, we need to talk about politics. Why? Because the war have impact for all of us in this world. What's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in the issue, what's happening in Afghanistan, we see what's happening in this crazy war. So when we're talking about the war, peace, and women, the first victims are women. But when you are thinking about women empowerment in politics, and the important thing is that the people, who are wondering about the future of this war, about the future of women's rights, they should be carried about women's rights in Afghanistan, because right now, and 30 million people, they're like the young generation, the youth, like half of population of the country. They're girls, they're women, they're sitting at home without hope, without anything. And this is a huge generation that they need change. This not only it's not only Afghanistan problem. This should be important for all women, all people in this world. But I know the situation who right now happening in Afghanistan in terms of politics. This is belong for the politics, but the impact that the people right now they receive that bad impact. This is for women, and it should be important for the people.
Well said. Roya, thank you very much for carrying this conversation for your documentary, The Sharp Edge of Peace. I certainly hope that it brings out more awareness, and hope that there are more changes in Afghanistan so that you may return back to that home
Thank you
country.
so much. Thank you.